I let go of so much and I gave it to him. And no amount of I'm sorry's will ever undo it. Hurt people hurt people.
Justin Baldoni blasted Blake lively after she tried tarnishing his reputation with manipulative lies and baseless claims, warning her this won't end well. He emphasized his dignity, making it clear he won't sit back and allow someone like Blake to play shallow Hollywood games aimed at destroying innocent men.
This isn't gonna end well for you, Blake. Sorry.
Blake Lively truly believed she could pull off an Amber Heard 2.0 and get away with it, assuming she could destroy Justin Baldoni's career with fabricated harassment claims while counting on Hollywood to blindly back her simply because of her name and status.
The Me Too victim there. That's absurd.
Justin Baldoni is finally speaking about how exhausted he is from the year of emotional stress dealing with it.
She walked in certain Justin would collapse under pressure, expecting him to fold like a cheap tent and gift her an easy win. She demanded a staggering $250 million, convinced she could silence him and play the helpless victim, but that gamble turned out to be a colossal mistake.
Don't like her. She seems like a bully. She was such a high-maintenance diva bully brat.
Justin Baldoni didn't just defend himself. He completely flipped the script, hitting back with a $400 million countersuit that instantly turned the tables, forcing Blake to shift from aggressor to scrambling in full damage control mode.
His holidays ruined, and now his whole career is attempted to be ruined by Blake and the lawsuit. So I can only imagine if he was this tough before it all dropped, imagine how much tougher it was.
And guess what? It's failing. Hollywood, the public, even the very media that once idolized her are now turning against her. People see through the lies. The illusion is collapsing, and Blake is left scrambling, desperately clinging to the last scraps of her fading credibility.
Director Justin Baldoni is now suing his former co-star Blake Lively and her husband Ryan Reynolds, seeking more than $400 million in damages, accusing them of defamation and
Let's be clear, this is just the start of her downfall. Her career is crumbling, her finances are at risk, and her reputation is beyond repair, with Justin Baldoni ensuring she never bounces back. Blake thought she held the power, thought she could control the narrative, but the moment she stepped into that courtroom, reality hit her hard, leaving her completely unprepared for what was coming.
I told them that I was exhausted, that I haven't given myself time to recover or time to heal. I had an intense year.
She never anticipated Justin Baldoni dismantling her lawsuit in just 90 minutes. Barely enough time for the hearing to unfold before her case started collapsing like a stale Hollywood popcorn bucket.
Of course, meeting for the first time in court today. It was about a 90-minute hearing.
She assumed she had the upper hand, but instead walked into court completely unprepared against a legal team that wasn't there to play. In just 90 minutes, she was hit with defeat after defeat as every single motion her side filed was denied, each rejection landing like a harsh slap in the face. One by one, her attempts to steer the narrative were tossed straight into the trash.
Told us that Justin Baldoni denied those claims of sexual harassment and only tried to appease Blake Lively because she was such a high-maintenance diva bully brat. He had to bend over backwards just to get her to shut up and complete the...
And her desperate attempt to gag Justin's legal team? That got shot down too. She tried everything to silence him and bury the truth, likely thinking her A-list status could strong-arm the court into giving her special treatment, but she was dead wrong.
Anxiety because I'm not feeling like my full self, and yet I came today despite, no sleep and not feeling great and, all of the...
The judge flat out laughed her out of the room, refusing to grant the gag order, leaving Justin's lawyer, Brian Fredman, with full freedom to drag every single one of her lies into the spotlight.
World where sometimes people judge you before they give you a...
Blake's legal team was torn apart so badly they looked like clueless interns on their first day at a law firm. No solid counterarguments, no real defense, just blank stares and nervous stammering as Fredman shredded their case like a poorly written movie script.
It was just due to the fact that she seems like a rather shitty person.
She believed her Hollywood status would shield her, that her influence could somehow bend the court in her favor, but instead, she was publicly humiliated before the judge, the media, and everyone watching, turning the whole hearing into a legal bloodbath.
Blame him, and boy, did she open up a hornet's nest and learn be careful what you wish for, because now you've got the fight you asked for and you're not.
But honestly, is anyone even surprised? Blake Lively has been on a power trip for years, and this case is just her latest crash and burn. She genuinely thought she could hijack Justin Baldoni's film, erase him from his own project, and parade around as if she were the mastermind behind it all.
He is, his agent is Ari Emanuel. He's a powerful Hollywood guy, and we all respond to Hollywood power. And there's a hypocrisy and a fraudulence there that the public is picking up on. And so that's really interesting. Now,
let's talk about how she tried snatching it ends with us right out of Justin's hands. He spent 5 years developing the film, pouring his heart into every detail, only for Blake Lively to waltz and acting like she knew better than the man who actually built it. She forced script rewrites, shoved her way into director-level decisions, and even had the audacity to demand final cut approval, as if she were Martin Scorsese himself.
A lot of material success and a lot of emotional stress. It was very hard on me and my family.
Final cut approval. Seriously, who does she think she is? She was hired to act, not hijack the entire production. But that still wasn't enough. She pushed Justin aside to make everything center around her. And the worst part? She literally banned him from properly attending his own movie premiere. Imagine that. The man who spent years bringing the project to life forced to sit in a basement while Blake strutted around like Hollywood royalty.
To not impose the gag order on Justin Baldoni's attorney Brian Friedman today, but did threaten to move up the trial if the media press war continued.
She didn't even let him watch the final cut until it was already too late, making sure she held complete control as if she were the director, producer, and star all at once. She craved all the power but refused to shoulder any of the responsibility.
Justin Baldoni, ultimately, by the time they got to the premiere, was mandated by Blake Lively to spend the night in the basement, away from his co-stars, and didn't even get to see the final cut of his own movie because Blake Lively insisted that she be the one to approve it until he watched it on the screen with his editors.
And you'd think after all that, she'd at least keep the movie focused on its true message, domestic abuse awareness. But nope. Instead, she twisted the entire project into a glorified PR campaign for her hair care line and Ryan Reynolds' gin brand, hijacking a film about serious issues and reducing it to nothing more than a flashy commercial for her products, because of course she did.
The film was steamrolled by Blake, which just showed their inexperience as producers, and I say that with all respect. They got completely controlled and taken over by...
This was never about telling a meaningful story or preserving artistic integrity. It was about Blake Lively making everything revolve around herself, yet again. And now she's paying the price. The public isn't buying it, Hollywood isn't buying it, and the judge certainly isn't buying it. She thought she could destroy Justin Baldoni, but instead, he's the one dismantling her entire empire, and at this point, there's no coming back for her.
Here's where he goes into why he made the film.
I haven't talked about this a lot because I want to be very mindful in the conversation around this movie to not take the emphasis off of what is happening to women at alarming rates.
Absolutely.
Blake Lively genuinely believed she could play the innocent victim and walk away untouched, assuming Hollywood would blindly buy her sob story and her A-list status would shield her. But the problem is, she left behind a trail of receipts, and Justin Baldoni has every single one of them.
I want to eliminate as many barriers.
Let's talk about the leaked texts and emails that completely blow apart every claim Blake has made. She stood in court with a straight face, crying about how Justin made her uncomfortable, painting herself as a poor actress trapped in a toxic work environment. Yet her own messages tell a different story. The same woman now pretending she was terrified of him was casually texting Justin, inviting him to her trailer multiple times to hang out.
Justin does a better job, in my opinion, of providing receipts and showing full context.
But it gets even worse. Not only was she inviting him to hang out, but she was also texting about how much she loved working with him, even jokingly calling him a ball buster. That completely contradicts her weak attempt to claim harassment. How do you go from praising someone, joking around, and welcoming them into your trailer to suddenly insisting they made you feel unsafe? It's not just suspicious. It's flat out laughable.
Basically saying that she does not want to sit down for a deposition with Brian Friedman.
Like, I know that this girl grew up rich and privileged, but how rich we talking? You know what I'm saying? Because does she think she's just like a princess that she can just be like, I don't like.
And Justin isn't just pointing out these contradictions. He has them in black and white. His 179-page lawsuit is stacked with evidence proving Blake is a liar, a manipulator, and a fraud, dismantling every single accusation she's thrown at him.
Blake's Lively's complaint of harassment. He called me sexy. I felt so uncomfortable. Why would you do that? Well, here's one point where she's calling him a ball buster. I'm just a ball buster.
There's a text, an email, or even a video clip contradicting every tearful statement she made in court, each receipt exposing her as a fraud. She built this entire lawsuit on lies, and now the truth is closing in to destroy her. Blake thought Hollywood would blindly shield her just because she's Blake Lively, but here's the reality. Hollywood loves receipts, and the receipts aren't on her side.
Went through Justin's 179-page lawsuit, and I am shook.
Now let's talk about Ryan Reynolds, the so-called dragon who is supposed to protect Blake and fight by her side. Oh, did that ever backfire? Ryan actually believed his A-list status would shield them from backlash, that his Deadpool humor and charm would distract the public from the glaring holes in Blake's story. Instead, he ended up making a complete fool of himself.
He is accused of having turned the whole cast of It Ends With Us against Justin.
Ryan had one job: stand by Blake and help her sell the victim narrative. But instead, he went on SNL and turned the entire lawsuit into a punchline. In the middle of a case where his wife was claiming sexual harassment and emotional trauma, he thought the best move was to crack jokes on national TV. By mocking the situation, he made the lawsuit look even faker than it already did, and the public noticed. Social media instantly turned on him, with fans asking the obvious question: if Blake's story were true, why is Ryan treating it like a comedy skit?
Very small, insecure man. And so what makes Ryan feel good about himself is money and power and proximity to power.
Hollywood noticed too, and now brands that once rushed to partner with Ryan are rethinking their ties. His business empire is suddenly at risk, all because he hitched himself to one of the biggest PR disasters of the decade.
As this vicious reaction to this, these are just some of the top comments that were on SNL's Instagram posts. They wrote, the top comment here, "It was funny until the cringe Ryan Reynolds couple made it awkward. Read the room, get out. Could have done without Ryan and Blake, so exhausting. Missing Ryan Gosling," which is really fun.
Let's talk numbers. Ryan's fortune isn't locked away in some vault. It's tied directly to his brand deals. Aviation Gin, Mint Mobile, Wrexham AFC. All of these ventures rely on his carefully polished public image. And guess what? That image is now crumbling fast.
Get it? He's just being his funny Deadpool self, guys. It's so ironic and it's so funny. He's like mocking the situation.
His credibility is disappearing at lightning speed, with the same people who once admired him now questioning his judgment. And let's be real, he's not clueless. He knows exactly what happens when Hollywood turns on you. He's seen it with Amber Heard, with Kevin Spacey, with every star exposed as a fraud. And right now, his name is tied to one of the most humiliating Hollywood scandals in years.
I didn't know Saturday Night Live approves bullying from Ryan and Blake, and that is kind of one of the, first and foremost, deep ironies of what's going on here, is the fact that Saturday Night Live has made itself almost an enemy, I would say, of half of America.
That's why whispers are circling that Ryan may abandon Blake to protect himself. Think about it. Why would he sink with a collapsing ship when his career could still be salvaged if he cuts ties now? In Hollywood, self-preservation always outweighs loyalty. But let's be real, it's already too late. The internet is tearing Blake Lively apart.
He really sees this all the way through and makes sure we get to discovery and proves how disgusting some of these high-level celebrities.
She thought she was untouchable, too powerful, too adored to ever face cancellation. But she was wrong. Cancel Blake Lively is now trending worldwide, and her fan base is vanishing even faster than her lawsuit is collapsing. People aren't just criticizing her anymore. They're outright boycotting her projects.
What's actually funny to him is not the sexual harassment. What's funny to him is that he found a tool to be able to stage a hostile takeover of a business. And they were high. They were totally high on their own supply of power. They were enjoying it. They were enjoying humiliating Justin Baldoni. Like I said, they got so close.
Remember when Blake was one of Hollywood's golden girls? That's over. She's now being compared to Amber Heard, and not kindly. TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube are tearing apart her case, dissecting every contradiction and exposing each and every lie she told, sparking public outrage.
The New York Times, oh, nobody could be bigger than the New York Times, before you filed your lawsuit, as all of the evidence is indicating, because you wanted to set the public narrative against Justin Baldoni. Now that it's backfiring, you're like, hey, I want people gagged. This is unprofessional to go to the press. Everyone sees right through you and Ryan.
She chose to pin the blame on him, but here's the real kicker. Even her former allies are jumping ship. Take Colleen Hoover, for example. She personally chose Blake to star in It Ends With Us and championed her career, yet now she's wiped Blake from her social media like she never existed. That's not normal support for a leading actress. That's Hollywood's silent way of saying, we're done with you. And it's not just Hoover. The entire industry is turning its back. Where are the celebrities defending her? Where are her past co-stars, her so-called Hollywood friends? No one is speaking up in her defense.
It's part of being in the public eye. She's just used to being Hollywood's golden girl, and she had such thin skin that after having a couple negative things happen to her for a month, she had to blame him. She decided to blame.
Because they know the truth. They know she's guilty. Blake Lively has burned every bridge in the industry. She thought manipulation could carry her to the top, but now everyone's watching her downfall and no one's stepping in to save her. She truly believed she could smear Justin Baldoni, win in court, and walk away victorious, but reality hit like a freight train, leaving her trapped in a $400 million financial nightmare she has no escape from.
They're watching everyone on TikTok, they're watching everyone on Instagram say, what you did is not okay. And they're standing in front of the world and they're saying, we can't be canceled because we're too connected. So what? Sorry for the rest of you guys. Sorry for the rest of you idiots who are beneath us. We just have to make a phone call to Ari Emanuel and we can get into a skit. And how we treat people doesn't matter.
Let's do the math. Blake Lively's net worth sits at about $50 million, and that's nowhere near enough to cover what she'll owe when this lawsuit sinks her. Some might argue, but Ryan Reynolds is worth $350 million. Won't he cover her losses? Oh, honey, no. Ryan's fortune isn't liquid cash. It's tied up in investments like Aviation Gin, Mint Mobile, and Wrexham AFC. He can't just yank out hundreds of millions overnight to bail his wife out of a catastrophe she brought on herself.
Because I'm not feeling like my full self. And yet, I came today, despite, no sleep and not feeling great and, all of the barriers.
And let's be real. Why would he? Ryan's already watching his own reputation burn just for standing beside Blake in this disaster. Do you honestly think he's going to risk his entire fortune to protect her when it's painfully obvious she's losing? If Justin wins this countersuit, Blake and Ryan will be financially wiped out, gone, finished, their entire empire reduced to rubble. In Toro 36. And here's the best part. Hollywood isn't going to swoop in and save them this time.
Another reason that the public didn't respond well to this was because we have already accurately deduced that the both of you are raging narcissists.
Because let's not forget what happens to actors who lose massive defamation lawsuits. Just ask Amber Heard. She thought she could take down Johnny Depp, play the victim, and walk away with her career intact. Instead, she was blacklisted, publicly humiliated, and exiled to Spain. Studios don't want anything to do with actors exposed as liars in court, and now Blake is staring down the exact same fate.
You are raging narcissists.
Think about it. What studio in their right mind would hire her now? What producer would risk millions on someone exposed for manipulating the media, fabricating allegations, and trying to ruin a man's career? The answer is none. Blake has officially become too toxic to touch. No matter how famous she once was or how many connections she had, her name is now stained beyond repair.
What happens when your masculinity is in question? You fall into depression, you have anxiety, you feel like you're failing, that you're not showing up to anything as your full authentic self. You compensate. That's when you start to hurt yourself and other people.
And speaking of connections, let's talk about Hollywood's ultimate betrayal. Blake probably assumed her powerful friends would rally to her side, but she was dead wrong. Scarlett Johansson? Silent. Taylor Swift? Not a word. Her past A-list co-stars? Nowhere to be found. Nobody is stepping up to defend her.
The entire reason we got here was because you tried to play this in the press. Like, you went to the New York Times to try to take him down and to set a public narrative. And now that it's backfiring, you want...
Even the New York Times, which once ran pieces backing her, is now quietly pulling away. They're not doubling down, not pushing her narrative because they see the writing on the wall and want no part of her downfall. And here's where it gets brutal. Not a single actress has stepped forward to say, "I stand with Blake." Not one.
It does seem like by some of the texts that we've seen that they have a very friendly relationship at the beginning of this process. Clearly that started to fall apart as time went on.
Not even her Gossip Girl castmates, the people who worked with her for 6 years, have spoken a word in her defense. If anything, they're likely laughing behind the scenes as she implodes. The A Simple Favor cast, including Anna Kendrick, is also keeping their distance. No posts, no support, nothing. Blake Lively is being erased from Hollywood in real time, and it's not even subtle. Colleen Hoover, the very woman who handpicked her for It Ends With Us, has scrubbed all traces of her from social media. No promotion, no backing, just silence. This is what happens when Hollywood decides you're finished. And at this point, there's no coming back. Blake thought she could destroy Justin Baldoni, but instead, he's the one dismantling her. She entered this lawsuit believing she'd silence him, play the victim, and come out on top. Now look at her.
Overused now, but she did FAFO. Like, she thought she could blame all of her negative press on him. He's a weakling. She's Blake Lively with Ryan Reynolds, her dragon.
She's teetering on the edge of financial ruin. If she loses this lawsuit, it won't just cost her a little money. It will financially obliterate her. Her career will be dead. No studio will touch her. Her reputation will be in shreds, and even her own fans are turning against her. And here's the kicker. Her lawsuit has backfired so badly, she could end up owing Justin millions more in damages. This isn't just a legal fight. It's a career-ending catastrophe, and Blake Lively walked straight into it. She thought she could destroy Justin Baldoni, but now it's her career going up in flames. Subscribe for the full breakdown of her downfall.